People have to be worth their titles. Don't you think, Nurse Anya?
Yeah. Freaking I asked.
What do you guys think we've been shipping?
This is all you. I want it duly noted that I had no involvement in this.
Are we doing the right thing?
Polly says.
I hope this hurts.
Mouthwashing is a first-person psychological horror game from developers Wrong Organ, a Swedish studio whose only other title is How Fish is Made, where you play as a fish and flop around a machine. Solid pedigree. The game was developed as a natural next step for the small team, focusing on human characters and a more direct narrative structure, as opposed to the, quote, more esoteric approach their debut title had.
What is going on?
After 15 months of development, the team of 7 most certainly didn't expect the absurd amount of press and attention they'd receive.
It's a very absorbing story experience, as recommendations go it's a heavily qualified one.
I just want to talk to him.
Why do you have a shotgun?
I just want to talk to him.
This is a weird one because, yeah, I do think that Mouthwashing is a stellar game. I feel like its praise is a little, misplaced. Just a tad. Let's get into it. In Mouthwashing, you play as space truckers and longtime friends Jimmy and Curly, jumping between their perspectives as the story progresses. The game takes place aboard the Tolpar, a spaceship delivering cargo across the stars for budget delivery company Pony Express.
Another day in paradise.
Joining Captain Curly and co-pilot Jimmy is Swansea, the surly mechanic, Daisuke, his peppy intern, and Anya, the ship's nurse. There was supposed to be another engineer, but he was cut in development.
Ew, ew, ew.
The story is told in a non-linear fashion, jumping around different events that play out aboard the Tolpar, intercut with light puzzle segments.
I think you need to use the code scanner. They're really getting a lot of mileage out of that thing, huh?
Someone more pessimistic than me would call this a walking simulator, which, yeah, isn't incorrect, but the game knows what it is and why you're here. It's all about the story, you know, the ambience, and those crunchy PS1 graphics.
Flavortown!
The PlayStation 1 era is in vogue right now, and Mouthwashing is joining Dusk, Ultrakill, and Gloomwood in that parade. If this is your preferred aesthetic, you're in for a treat, because Mouthwashing really knocks it out of the park. The character models are incredibly simple, but convey so much with just their outfits and facial expressions. You can tell Jimmy is no Boy Scout just from the lines on his face. Anya's long nights spent studying are practically tattooed on hers, and it's just so obvious which Ava girl Daisuke is obsessed with.
You gonna use the Pony Express provided cake recipe? At least make it correctly.
Swansea really likes that cake. Don't tell anyone.
The character designs easily cut through the pixelated filter Mouthwashing has over everything. It's a lot crunchier than Lethal Company before it, but there is a zoom button to help make things more legible. The lack of visual clarity actually helps a ton with selling some of the scenes aboard the Tolpar, obfuscating them and creating tension due to a lack of visual information. Combined with stellar hand-drawn looking texture work, and you have some seriously gritty and hostile visuals. I mean, just look at this monster!
Oh my goodness!
Terrifying. Lighting is used to great effect aboard the Tolpar. Most of the game, you'll either be terrified because of how dark and bleak the hallways are, or you'll feel anxious because of the unnatural red lighting. So much of the player's emotion is manipulated like putty in the set director's hands. It's very easy to overlook the little details. Mouthwashing's soundscape is aggressive. I mean, okay, let's be real here. There's nothing as blatantly offensive as the Resident Evil basement theme, but yeah, the game's not afraid to put your eardrums in a full Nelson. You'll be moving from one room to the next, thinking you hear a monster or an animal of some sort, and it just turns out to be Curly. He needs his meds. The reverb is next level in the cold metal hallways, constantly attacking you with tinny tones and too loud footsteps. The break room and infirmary are welcome changes of pace and genuinely comforting rooms to have story beats in simply because they just have better acoustics. There's a few scenes I won't spoil here that were probably featuring very large FL Studio files, and their overproduction kind of loses the plot. But man, when the soundscape hits, it hits. When asked about the funniest part of development, the team brought up recording the sound of Curly taking his meds. Because of course. The team at Wrong Organ went into excruciating detail about their process in a dev diary back in September, and it's definitely worth a read if you're interested in the nitty-gritty of sound design, especially for a project that knocks it out of the park like Mouthwashing does. The music is, fine, serviceable. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not the guy to ask about melodies and such things. I didn't notice too many of the tracks outside of the quiet plot-heavy moments. One of these tracks, though.
Answering the call.
As I brought up before, Mouthwashing's story is told in non-linear segments. At first, you're Captain Curly, hurtling the Tulpar to a collision course with an asteroid. Then, you're a guy named Jimmy trying to hunt down his code scanner in order to access the ship's cargo storage. Just before you get to see what kind of fantastic supplies you've unlocked, you jump again. Wrong Organ's done their homework in manipulating the player, taking a page from Alfred Hitchcock's School of Narrative Design. Grab the viewer, or player in this case, and force their perspective. Drag them along at your own pace. Dictate the time of crucial events. Painstakingly plan every drop of information you want to drip. Never reveal your hand.
Hey, why do you think Pony Express put a lock on a medical room door, but not in the sleeping quarters?
The changing perspective keeps the dual narrative fresh, and removes you from enough information to keep the reveals punchy. The flashback sequences from Curly's perspective give crucial context to the events of the present, and flesh out the relationships of the characters by providing a distinctively different perspective into the Tulpar and its crew. Walking around as Jimmy, you get the feeling there's a constant veneer over everything, a facade at play, because your fellow shipmates don't want to come 100% clean with you. It makes sense, you got the position because you were the co-pilot, and the head pilot went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Which is qualification enough, one would think, but then you get to hearing about things as Curly.
Because it means I only have one eval left to do.
Jimmy?
He acts as if I do these things for fun. I have to make a report with things like, I found myself sexually excited at the sight of cartoon horses.
Unlike Jimmy, Curly is respected. He's been around for a while and knows exactly what he's doing. He has confidence and positivity and knows how to manage his crew. People are open to him and see him as a natural, legitimate leader, or in Swansky's case, don't actively antagonize him like he does with Jimmy.
This could have damaged the pods. You can't let something like this happen again.
Yeah, I got it.
It's a small detail and kinda obvious too, but I really like how each character has their own voice in a way, with the sound of their text. Before getting more into the story, here's another spoiler warning, just in case a disclaimer at the beginning wasn't enough. Mouthwashing is pretty cheap, exceptionally done, and barring all else, no commentary playthroughs are easily found online. I cannot recommend experiencing this game for yourself enough before hearing spoilers. Alright, here we go.
This is...
Mouthwash?
Fucking believable.
There's gotta be an ocean of this stuff in here.
This is what they'd have 5 people hauling for over a year? All of this for mouthwash?
The sugar content probably offsets any potential as a disinfectant.
Let me see that. 14% ethanol.
Let's pull this band-aid off. The monster segments weren't very good. Well, that's harsh. I'd say they aren't as well thought out as the rest of the game. I mean, I was freaked out to all hell and back the first time I saw the Leaning Tower of Horses mug an inch from my face. But sadly, all the set dressing and scary giant horse noises can't stop the sequence from being a rather bland game of red light, green light. The mutant baby sequence towards the end also suffers due to an unclear end goal. But that pause the beast takes before it strikes, eyeing you up before choosing violence. Like, even when Wrong Organ stumbles, they find a way to look damn good doing so. Mouthwashing is not afraid to wear its influences on its sleeve. In the Steam Dev Diaries, Wrong Organ detailed how some of their characters were explicitly designed to look like pre-existing horror characters. like Ryosuke Kawashima from Cairo or Shelley Duvall from The Shining. While other pieces of media are listed as influences, such as Skinamarink and Twin Peaks, there's no escaping the fact that Mouthwashing is The Shining in space, through and through.
A little slow tonight, isn't it?
Long, uninterrupted shots down narrow passageways build stupid levels of suspense. The entire story is spent completely isolated from outside contact, leaving the trapped core cast alone with their demons and potential psychosis.
Jumbo! El Capitano! The man with the plan!
Make no mistake, this isn't my worst moment. Far from it.
Also, there's an axe.
Here's Johnny!
There are plenty of other parallels, but deep dives on The Shining are something I simply don't know jack about, so let's move on. As you play through the game and see the tragic unraveling of the Tulpar's crew, there are a few questions that get left unanswered, or at the very least are left vague. Why were they delivering so much mouthwash? How much did Swansea actually care about Daisuke? The key example, of course, being the nature of the tryst between Jimmy and Anya. It's all very heavily hinted at, but no one ever drops the R word. The game keeps screaming, take responsibility. Well, of whom? The crew? The cargo? The baby? By the end of everything, they're all dead or compromised. On top of themes lifted from The Shining, Mouthwashing pushes the idea of broken people abandoning their responsibilities of all shapes and sizes. Familial, amicable, and professional responsibilities are cast aside out of the self-interest of the offender, with your own interpretation of events determining just how damning the foregoing of responsibility was. The one character who tries to do something, despite every horrible flaw etched onto their soul, is too flaccid and broken a man to stop the inevitable hurdle towards oblivion he, his crew, and the ship are on.
Woohoo! Happy birthday, Captain! This rocks!
To Captain Jimbo!
Come on! You have to give a speech.
Fine, have at it.
Hell yeah!
Our captain.
Mouthwashing was that game for quite a while, so discourse surrounding it is probably predisposed you in one way or another, and some green schmuck on the internet isn't going to sway you anytime soon, but yeah, I'll still throw out a recommendation for this one. This is the closest I felt to playing an interactive version of The Shining, and that presentation and design make this worth checking out alone. It's not perfect and intentionally vague, you know, like The Shining, so your mileage may vary. I still don't get where this Undertale tier fandom cropped out from, but hey, who am I to judge? It's like $13 or $15 right now on your major digital retailers, and it'll eat up like 2 to 3 hours of your time. Go check it out. Keep drawing Anya. She's cute. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw, please leave a like and subscribe. Come drop us a comment and check us out on Discord. Feel free to say hello anytime. Take care, and we'll see you in the next one.